Hello, Heathens.
Hello, Ian.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another
Welcome.
episode.
Welcome back to the channel.
Yes. Okay, today we are moving actually into our astrology portion because we just did the moon phases, which is very important to know. But today we're talking the sun and the moon.
The sun and the moon.
Which I feel like when people ask you, they want to know your sun, your moon, and your rising. And those are like your big three.
Yeah, because those are the ones that are really aspects of your personality.
Yeah.
The way you act, what you kind of are drawn towards, like
Yeah, the more
that.
I, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the more that I learn, the more I want to always know people's Venus sign too.
Right.
I'm like, I want
Just
to
to
know those
see.
four. It's curious.
It's just want to know what your love language is.
Yes, tell me your love language. I want to know.
I want to know.
I want to know. Um, well, I guess the first one we could start with is the sun, because that is your big one that you hear about the most. Like when you go to look up your daily horoscope, usually that goes off your sun sign. What I wanted to say is when we're doing this series, you guys, there's a lot of different websites you can use to look up your natal chart. Your natal chart, what you need is your obviously your birthday, but you also need where you were born, like the city and the state or the country, wherever you're at, and then what time you were born. And then it will tell you everything. And some of it's kind of hard to read if you don't know what you're doing. But
Well, and I know a lot of, especially in the um across the pond European people, like a lot of them don't have times on their birth charts. So
mm,
with that, what I would do is look for a very competent astrologer, and I think they can narrow it down for you the best. Like obviously because the more they know like how you are and how you act, the more they can like place where that is. Because
mm,
the rising sign changes every like 2 hours. So, and the rising sign is basically if we took from where I'm sitting right now, if we took a straight line and went all the way out into space, because I was born at this time, that's where the sign is.
mm,
It's a straight plane right off the earth into a zodiac sign. So like I have a Libra rising. So at the moment of my birth, that's exactly where my rising was in Libra. Where
mm.
like my sun was in Capricorn and my moon is in Taurus.
Yes.
Oh, I just put hair in my ear. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Immediately overstimmed.
Yeah. Oh.
Overstimulation, get it out.
Get it out. Get it out. I don't like it. I don't
I
like it
don't
at
like it.
all.
I don't like it.
Mm.
Okay, well, so yeah, your sun is one of the most important celestial bodies because it represents the core of your individuality and your consciousness. So most of the time when people ask you, that's what you say. Like that's what you just look up your birthday off of, and that's what zodiac you'll get. Like if you type in my birthday's September 26th, you type that in, you say zodiac, that's what my sun sign is Libra. Nicole's is January 1st because she's the New Year's baby,
New Year's, baby.
and hers is Capricorn. So that's pretty easy to find without finding your full birth chart. But when we go into the zodiacs, and then like we're gonna do planets first, then we're doing the zodiac signs, then we're gonna go through the houses so we can kind of give you guys like a good basis to go off of. Now, granted, I will say that with astrologies, there's different ways to read. There's a lot of different ways that people
There's a
incorporate other
lot,
things.
yeah, there's a lot of controversy in it. So, as you're
Yes.
treading these waters, be very open-minded because there's not really one truth to this. And you got to realize that a lot of people are interpreting through their own lenses.
Oh, also, Did you hear of the new astrology they made where they're taking and blending Western and Chinese together?
Oh, no.
And zodiac. Okay, I just saw this the other day. I'm glad I remembered this. I cannot remember what it's called. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's like animal, primal zodiac signs is what they're calling it. And it's a mix of the two. So you find like your birth year, and then let's see if I can find yours. Mine is a, what's the bird that goes and scoops the stuff, scoops up the fish to eat the big,
Pelicans?
yes, thank you.
Because you love birds?
Because I love birds so much. I mean, listen, at least it wasn't the one thing we all know. At least it wasn't that. I was scared. I was like, oh man, come on, don't do this to me.
Is so is this based off like the Chinese zodiac?
It's Chinese and Western, so it's gonna be our
I didn't know
zodiacs.
they had a pelican.
No, it's not Chinese specifically. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
mix of the two. So
Oh,
it's a
okay. Because I
huge
was like,
calculator. Who's our demonology girl? Um, Quan,
oh, yes. Love her.
um,
Choi.
Ch
Fuck. What's
Ch
her? I don't have her book on here either.
Chaoyan Woon, Cha Woon,
Yes.
Cha Woon. If you follow her on TikTok and you look up her like her TikTok, she has some stuff on the primal zodiac. She's the reason I actually looked it up because I love this woman. And she had stuff on there where they're taking and blending Western, which is what we would use our regular zodiacs for, and like our astrology. They're taking that astrology and blending it with the Chinese zodiac. So then you get this blend of the two, and it gives you a primal animal. And they had quite a bit on it.
Oh.
It was very, very interesting.
Find my sign. How do I find it? Now, obviously it's a blend, so it's not that bit, not that serious. So, because I know when I looked up my like Chinese zodiac, I have to be careful because of where my birthday is. Because
Mm,
our new year starts on January 1st, but the Chinese zodiac doesn't start until like February-ish.
yeah.
So when I thought I was the snake, I ended up being the dragon because their new year, I don't know if that matters really.
So if you are Capricorn and the dragon, your primal zodiac sign is eagle.
Yes.
The primal zodiac sign of the Eagles are born to dedicate themselves to a cause with an intensity rarely seen by any of their peers. Their intensity springs from their personal passion and idealism, and those who are honest with their deepest desires will find themselves inexplicably drawn towards them. There's like there's so much on this, just like there is astrology and the Chinese zodiac. It's very interesting. But I didn't know if you'd heard about it, and it just popped up when we were talking, so I had to like tell you really quick. So I was like,
No, because I
oh,
haven't heard of that. Because I remember when they like said something about they were changing the signs or whatever, and I've never really adopted that, nor
me
have I
neither.
seen anybody like really lean into that.
Me
And I
neither.
don't know what the purpose of that was for, but like it was. I know every once in a while when you talk about zodiac signs, somebody's like, well, they changed it, right? And it's like,
Yeah, but nobody reads like that I know of.
that
Granted,
I know of.
my sign would have changed, and that's why I denounced it.
My sign changed too.
I was like, absolutely not. It was whatever the new one was too, because it hits right
Yeah.
where my birthday's at. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Absolutely not.
I'm not changing my identity now. I am a Libra. This is my
I'm attached
talk
to it.
about a son. I'm attached to my son.
Right. You're like, no, absolutely. I denounce this.
I denounce this blasphemy.
It's blasphemy. How dare you?
Okay, so your sun is your overall self, right? It's your where your ego is, it's who you grew up to be. Now, your sun's going to symbolize your inner fire. It's our inner fire, our self-expression, our sense of identity, and it can help us to kind of narrow down our purpose too. Now, in your birth chart, your sun's placements and aspects reveal a lot about like your fundamental character, your purpose, your life force. It can help a ton. With all of this being said, I would like to keep in mind your natal chart as a whole really helps. Your sun sign, yes, where it's at, and its house can definitely help aspects of that. We're staying on the kind of the narrow here, I guess, the scratching the surfacey,
Shallow.
right?
Yeah, we're
The shallow
shallow.
end. We're in the shallow end.
We are just putting our feet in.
Yeah, we're
You
testing the
know,
waters.
right. We're not gonna like we know that like this could be explained in very many different facets, and this is just our version of like familiarizing you to this world. So when you do start to swim on your own, you have a life preserver. Like you don't get lost in some sort of weird cult place.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because like, let's be honest here. I'm not taking any classes Nicole has. When people ask, because like people love hearing about their zodiac, I totally understand it and like their natal chart. I do too. I love getting readings. Like they're fun, they make sense. It's like really cool, especially when you get a really good one when you're like, holy shit, everything that you said was going to happen based off my zodiac chart definitely happened. But like it's also really nice to have some kind of footing to step on to understand like what people are talking about and like what's being said so that you kind of can understand like when things apply to you or how do they apply to you and like what the hell your sun means, what does your moon mean, because like I also do come across a lot of people that don't understand it and I totally it's a whole big realm, it's a realm.
It is. And you want to, just like anytime that you're doing research, you don't want to take one source. You want to take multiple sources and then form your own conclusion on it. This has been a, an art that has been studied way before even like Jesus was on the earth. Not that that's a whole nother thing, but
Yes.
just time frame. I'm just using as time frame. But like it was started before that to like represented like they would start and study the stars because then they could figure out when the best time was to plant crops and how to like
Yeah.
measure time because they didn't really have anything but seeing like the moon and the sun and all that stuff go through the sky again and again and again, that's where they regulated all of that.
Yes, absolutely. That's really cool. It's this is again, we're in the shallow end. So let's see, what do we got
And
here?
your sun is your very masculine side of you. Like it's a very projecting out. You're putting the seed into like your subconscious. Like
Yeah.
it's out projecting. So this is basically what we would almost show the world.
Yeah, yeah. And this is also like the sun can also reveal to you your like leadership style, which also I feel like helps describe it so well because like the
Hmm.
sun is has been kind of convoluted for me in the past, and I'm trying to make it make sense for you guys too, because like a lot of these signs go into who you are as a person, a lot of these planets, but the sun is like really helpful with your leadership style. And it also gives you clues about how you deal with authority as well. Because again, this is your like self-realization, right? This is who you are as the whole person,
Right.
the thing. Um, the placement of the sun in the birth chart also can reveal like your essential nature, your sense of purpose, your potential for self-realization. And the sign in the house of the sun can indicate the areas in life where you'll feel the most alive and passionate and fulfilled as well.
Yeah, because this is like if you start to understand and you take it for like a grain of salt, you don't take it for like this is it. It's not cement. We're not like if I'm a Capricorn, I only care about work. Like that's not true. Am I really good at it? Do I have tools and like things about it? Yes, I do. But like it's not my end all be all of what I am.
Yeah.
Um and then also like when you start reading this kind of stuff, we also have a bad habit of like then go, well, that's what you get. I'm a Scorpio. Like, you don't, it doesn't give you permission to be an asshole either. Right? Like you can't just sit there and like, well, I'm late all the time because I'm a whatever, right? Like you can't have a bad habit and then be like, well, that's because I was born this way. No, you're being a dick and stop being a dick, right? Like
Yeah,
be
exactly.
respectful and everything like that. It just helps you like if I do have that kind of thing where I'm aloof and I kind of like don't maybe I don't have strong boundaries or it's still that whole thing of like, oh, this is what the area I need to work on. I need to balance this out instead of it being so far at one side or the other. This is the area that I can really like put forth the effort of like making it a little different. Like, what does it make sense to me? So I can use my astrology to help me in the real world.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And it's like, the way that I've used like my signs for helpfulness is like being a Libra, we don't have strong boundaries. We are big people pleasers, and it's been hard, and it's been a really big um like theme in my life, learning how to create healthy boundaries and to do it in a way that feels good to me, because I can't just say, well, you know what, Nicole, this is a boundary and that's just who I am. Because I'm going to be like, holy fuck, I hurt her feelings. What if I hurt her feelings? Like, ultimate people pleaser is what they say about Libras, and it can be true, but it's
Mhm.
about learning how to work with it. I don't have to say it in such a shitty way. Or I could, instead of being like, well, this is a boundary and that's it, it could just be like, hey, dude, this like is kind of hard for me to deal with. And like, this is like how I feel about it. It's not like the specifics of saying I'm creating a boundary. It's just the specifics behind doing what feels good to you while also like giving yourself that, So then instead of like being the people pleaser and being like, oh, it's okay, Nicole did that again. Oh, it's okay, she did that again. She crossed that again. When I've never specifically said it, or I've never like, you know what I mean? It's that kind of scenario of like, just identifying with this sign so much to the point that you use it to be like, oh, it's fine. And then you do it to self-detriment as well as detriment to your relationships around you.
Right, because then you're not actually looking at the core thing of like the
Yeah.
wound that created the people pleasing because like you were a child and you blah 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 like but you didn't have respectful parents that cared about your feelings and they just made you do it and you to make them happy. Right, like it's a
Yes.
psychological thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's we have to realize as we go forward that there's layers on everything. It's not just one absolute. There's multiple answers that are right and correct. And really, ultimately, what it comes down to, the more you know yourself, the more you know, and you're being honest and truthful with yourself, the more you know if I'm sitting in the bed rotting, I know if I'm rotting or if I'm resting,
Right.
because those are two very different feelings.
Yes.
If you're scrolling on TikTok and you're not actually consuming any of the energy that's going, you're just literally like running through it to run, like you're not even watching it. You're
Doom
literally,
scrolling.
yeah, you're like not even present.
No.
That's way different than me going on TikTok and then like going, oh, I'm going to look up and research and do this kind of stuff. Like TikTok's not bad, it's how you use it, right?
Right. Exactly. I don't have a ton on the sun, because I got distracted with the moon, to be honest. I got excited. So the disclaimer. The
Disclaimer.
only other things I really have for the sun is that the sun in astrology responds to the physical sun, right? Like the center of our solar system, the primary source of light and heat for the earth. So in astrology, the sun's associated with fire and the energy of transformation, inspiration, and passion. And the sun also corresponds to the heart chakra, the center of love and compassion in the human body. It's like our center, our core.
Hmm.
Um, and then okay. I wanted to talk about, because you'll hear this a lot too, is the sun, oh, this planet rules this, or this planet is exalted in this. So I wanted to explain those really quick too. The sun rules the sign of Leo, is what I found now. Granted, Nicole, when she brings up the correspondent books, there's other info. So again, this is all surface level. There's a lot to know.
There's
But
more. Yeah.
yeah. So when you say that a planet rules a sign, it means that the planet, that's the planet's home base. And an easy flow, it's going to be an easy flow if placed in that sign in someone's chart. Okay. Now, when we're talking about something being exalted, that means that's the planet's most powerful position. Nicole described it in a really well way of like if she's at home in her sun sign and I come in and I'm invited in and I'm an invited guest, I'm going to be, it's an exalted guest. So
Mm-hmm.
it indicates ease and added fortune with using that planet's energy. So
Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about the sun, that would be the sign Aries. So now detriment means that that is the opposite of home base. So it means you may need to work harder to integrate those sun's energy if you're placed in that, that's where that placement is. And the detriment sign for the sun is Aquarius. The last one I have is that fall. So fall means the opposite sign to the exalted position. So the exalted position was Aries, and that can indicate struggles with utilizing the planet's energies if placed here. And so that's that the fall sign for the sun is Libra. Sick. Read that, I was like, no.
That's interesting because I almost think like it's weird, I guess, because like Libra is ruled by Venus, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm not an astrologer either, so I don't even know why. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
I know
It just it
I
doesn't
thought
make
about
sense
it.
at this point because like especially because we found out that Cancer was in there too, and I figure like Cancer would be the opposite of the sun. But again, we don't know. I don't know enough to like actually start digging through this and like
I feel you, dude. I feel you. Maybe in the future we'll get there, but I guess this is
yeah,
also part of us also being on in the
we have
we're in the
questions.
kiddie pool with you guys. We're
Yeah,
all
we
in the
are.
kiddie pool together.
Astrology is very interesting because I always felt it like little rooms. Like, you open it up and you're like, I found my I found my sun horoscope in the back of a magazine and this is so cool, like look at this. And then you're like, once you learn that and there's a bigger room, so then you go into that room and you're like, oh, there's houses, there's a whole thing, I have a whole chart, like, and then you're learning like each of the houses and all that kind of stuff, and then you go into a bigger room that's like, oh fuck, like
Now we have aspects and conjunctions and
yeah,
the
how it
exalteds
all
and all this stuff, and you're just like, wait, I am confused.
I'm confused. I'm
Somebody help me.
confused.
I need
I'm
an
lost.
adult.
I'm an astronaut. I don't have a suit. I don't have a home
I'm an
base.
astronaut, but I'm in the ocean.
Right. Somebody help me. I need help.
I need help.
Is that all you have?
That's all I got for the sun.
Okay. So we're gonna go back to Hermetics for a minute. We're gonna go back to the Kabbalah, and where the sun represents in the tree of life is number 6, and it's right um where your solar plex is where the energy center is. Uh and it's called Tippura and it means beauty.
Hmm.
The magical image is a majestic king, a child, and a sacrifice god. So we start to see these, when I say sacrifice gods, we start to see these correlations between, like, even if you're familiar with the Bible, we start to see the correlations between the Bibles, and like the 12 disciples has is the 12 houses. The sun is Jesus, he's the sun, he literally is a sun, and that's a sun, he's projecting out, he sacrificed himself so that we could have a better life, blah blah blah. We start seeing the similarities there. So then you start to look at the Bible in a little different way because you realize that there is magic in there and there is a zodiac sign, and like what things are said in the Bible don't mean what they face front mean. If there's a back language to it, there's a mystical side to it where
It's
you have to interpret it instead of like
reading it
take
on
it.
black and white paper.
Right, right. Like,
Yeah.
this will might upset some people too, is that there wasn't literally a Jesus, and maybe there was, but like there wasn't literally a Jesus that came down and sacrificed and did all this kind of stuff. There was a story about it. There's a story that it tells of it. The sun sacrificed itself every day. The sun also sacrifices it every year. Like there's sacrifice points where it's the most lowest that it is, during the equinox in the winter, and the most exalted in the summer. And we start to see these like little meshes of like magic and like what they've put in this like book and like all of these kind of things. So you start to see. Now don't go getting into like arguments with people that are religious, telling them wrong and they're reading it, because that's not very helpful. Leave them be. It's
Right.
okay. It's okay, right? Like, um, oh, I lost my train of thought too. Okay, so we'll just keep going. So, um, situated on the tree, again, it's in the middle. The sixth path is called the meditation intelligent because in it are manipulated influxes of the evaluation, for it causes the influence of flow into all of the reservoirs of the blessings with which thy themselves they themselves are united. So when we look at the tree of life, we can kind of see how it all kind of flows into the sun. Like it's all kind of coming into it, and then it points down into these aspects.
Hmm.
So if we're taking the straight middle path, it goes from spirit to, so the sun is almost a reflection of spirit itself. That's what's feeding the sun, the energy of the sun. And then the sun reflects it onto us, because we can't look straight at God. We've heard this amount of time, especially if you are familiar with the story of Enoch. He walked with God and he was no more. So if you actually see spirit, like, you can't do it or you will not exist anymore. So we need that the intermediate to, we need like a representative of spirit, which would be Jesus, to help us understand and see God, because we can't, in our human forms, we just can't be that close to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to correlate it to like the zodiac natal chart. So like if you don't mind
No.
doing that, because I'm like I don't know how to say that, obviously. Words are hard, but I'm
Well,
trying to think about how that also like can go into looking at our sun aspect. You know what I mean?
so
Uh,
our spirit, our soul would be God, right?
okay.
It would be spirit. And then the sun would be our representative of our spirit. So this is my representation of my
Oh,
soul.
that's what I was gonna ask, but I don't think I had the right words to ask that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so oh, we don't really care about that. God name is the tetragrammaton. Um Tetragrammation. Oh, hold on. My Hebrew is a little rough. Because I always vibrate these words, so I always forget how to actually say it. Is there a ghost there?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, what's he want?
I don't know.
Oh,
My attention, I think.
pay attention to me.
There it is. Okay.
Um,
Toot, toot.
They're like, hello.
Hello, pay attention to us.
I can't think about this word. Oh, Eloah Vada is the Hebrew. It just took me a minute to figure that. Okay, so the archangel is Raphael. He is the healing of God. We've also seen in different magical groups or ritual magic groups Michael being in because he is like God. So these kind of can be interchangeable, if you will, to like for that because some people feel better about having Archangel Michael in representing the sun, where some people are Raphael. And either way, it's fine. It just is all depends on what you want.
Yes.
Um, the order of angels is Melachim, and it's kings. The mundane chakra is the Shishim. And I don't know where that is, but it's
No
called the
idea.
sun. Right. It's called the sun. It's probably in this area. It might be the heart, because I don't know what the heart chakra is technically called. And I know they have their own names. So usually it's like here and here. Like Tipura, I feel
Mm.
like these two work together very well. Spiritual experience is a vision of harmony of things, the mystery of the crucifixion. The virtue of this is devotion to the great work. The great work is where we dedicate ourselves to refining ourselves to be the highest aspect in this lifetime.
Mm.
Um, the vice is pride. So this is where we first get to correspond to Lucifer and the fallen sun, right? Like, so the vice of it is it's either evolution and you spiritually grow and mature, or you kind of stay stuck in pride.
Mm.
And we all know that pride is one of the easiest sins.
Yep.
I have a whole thing about sins. It's fine. It's not, it's just missing the mark. It's not like so serious that like you're going to go to hell and shit like that. It's just missing the mark. Um, so the tarot cards are the four sixes. The Six of Wands is victory. The Six of Cups is joy. The Six of Swords is earned success. Six of Pentacles is material success. So we see here where all the sixes, and if you think about it, six being three and three, it's very balanced. So you have both like the vice and the virtue in perfect harmony. This is a very harmonious number. So like when you bring it up into tarot cards or you see sixes, it's not 666. It's not the devil. It's a material balance. Um it's joy and beauty because we are at that balanced state. Now, we're not at a 10, so we're not like at an end of a cycle. We're literally right in the middle. And this is when you see the where is it? The six of, where are my sixes? The six of pentacles. If we see that, then we see that or not the six of pentacles, the six of wands, where he's on the horse and he's being celebrated for what he's already accomplished if through 1 through 5. So he started it out and then he gained momentum and then he created a new thing. And then he had balance with the four structures. And then we had conflict and strife in the fifth. And now we're done with that conflict. We're into celebration, into like, look at how far I've come. This is what happened. So now we get off the horse and we continue moving on to the end of the cycle. Um, this color is a very gold color, as bright as like it's so when you visualize it, it's so bright that would almost make you squint like you are staring at the sun. So when you're visualizing the chakra, and you are a lot of times in ritual magic, we bring our energy into this. So you would bring it down from source into the earth to ground it, but then it comes back up and comes through your tipora section and through your hands. So that way we are charging whatever we're charging with our hands through the tipora section. This is it's a very important, they're all important, but this one is you utilize it more than you think. So
Mhm.
even when you're creating um your hair or your creations of whatever you're doing, it's all going to be reflected outward through this part.
Mhm.
And when you need to recharge, this is a really good way to close your eyes and bring source down, bring it into the earth, and then back up into your tibial section. And you can feel the energy building. And then you can also use this as vitality. So you're not so tired and drawn out a lot of the time, especially if we've overdone it or whatever. Um, that's, I mean, that's pretty much, that's for just Quabalistic magic. I don't know if I'm going to read this one here because this one's a little more mythologically. All right, so then we have correspondence for the sun. So the glyph is when you see a circle with a dot in the middle of it, that's the glyph. So like
Yeah. There's what's the website that you use for the natal charts?
Astrology Cafe.
Is that the one that yes, because then what you'll see is it looks like a circle and you'll see a bunch of lines and all the zodiacs around them, the signs for the zodiacs. And so the sun,
I
you'll
do
see on the
have,
bottom of it, it'll usually put like it'll have the glyphs. So you'll see the little circle with the dot inside, and that is going to be your sun sign. Yeah. If you're on YouTube watching us, you'll see what it looks like if you're on Spotify. Think of just a circle with like 12 pies in it. Each
yes.
pie has a meaning in a house.
They have meanings, they have numbers. This is also where we see like the correlation of like numerology. We have a number for each of the houses. There's 12 houses. Uh,
So then
I
what you'll
lost.
look for your sun sign is that little, you'll see it usually at the bottom, they'll have them all laid out together and they'll just have the glyphs or the symbols for the sun, the moon, all that stuff. You'll see the little circle with the dot. That's your
And
sun.
there's usually a key. If you're looking your natal chart up, there's usually a key that will tell you, and you can use that as a reference.
Yes. See.
Okay, so the sun is correlated with Sunday. So if you were doing spells and you needed the vitality of the sun, or that's the kind of energy that you're putting out, this is the day that you would use it. Um, Noon is the time, yellow, gold, and orange, numbers 1 and 6. Um, Solar plexus and heart, those are both the correspondent strength. For the tarot card of the major arcana is strength, and the minor, which is interesting because it has a Leo or a
A
lion in
lion.
it. Yeah,
A Leo.
a Leo. It has a Leo in it.
That makes sense.
Um, and the sun, this guy here, that little fun guy that doesn't have any clothes on. It's always better when you're naked.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm not really going to go through the rest of this because it's all about like trees and herbs and metals like brass and gold, goddesses and gods, angels. Oh, the marine life is crab.
Hmm,
Maybe that's where Cancer comes in.
maybe.
I still don't understand it though. Because the zodiac signs that I got were Aries, obviously, Cancer, and Leo. And I was like, Cancer, how?
Yeah, does the moon rule Cancer?
Right, but this isn't about ruling, it's there's some reason there's a correspondent, and I don't know if it's just because maybe it's in June, July. Like
Hmm,
Cancer is in June and July, and it's a
maybe.
very like summery month, and maybe somehow, I don't know, we'd have to look into it deeper, really.
Right.
Animals, insects, birds. Yeah. So I don't feel like if you were, like I said, if you were doing a spell, this would be the book that you would want because, like, if I was trying to utilize as much sun elements as I wanted to, I would uh want these correspondents to be in my spell.
Yeah, and then you could also correspond them with your specific sun sign too. So like you could get
Absolutely.
the sun and your sign separate in correspondence, put them together.
Hmm. Very
So
much
if
so.
you're an Aquarius sun, look up the correspondence of Aquarius, look up the correspondence of the sun, mesh them together, make babies.
Make babies and then you make something new.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, if we look at, I am very much a part of like Greek mythology, and sometimes the Greek mythology helps you understand each of the planets and um how they live, look, feel, because we've actually given them like a identity. So like with the sun sign, there are certain Greek gods that correspond, or any of the gods. Like this is what really helps you kind of understand the flavor of that planet and how it's going to act because of these, like, if you're into kind of the mythology of stuff, this is where you kind of get that understanding. You're like, oh, if the sun is ruled by Apollo, and I know Apollo is this kind of way, and he's done these stories, then I can understand, like, I have a better understanding of how the sun would actually work and move throughout time and space.
Yes, I agree.
Um, I guess that's all I got. Now with zodiac signs, if we um as the sun moves through the zodiac signs, they're going to put on different clothes and have kind of different personalities. Not so much that it changes, but just the fact that it has a different filter on. So if the sun is in Cancer, we're going to feel a little more like a cancery kind of feeling. Like you might feel that you want to start a garden because you want to nurture something. You might feel that you want to take care of your niece or nephew because you're feeling that like more family, or like start to fix up your house because it's a very home family roots. You might look into your roots or your ancestries because of this in
Hmm.
that sign. If the sun is in Leo, you might feel a little more like, "Ooh, I'm ready for a platform. I want to like sit on TikTok and tell them all the things I know," or, whatever your special gift is, or find something that you can be really fiery, passionate about and like really lose yourself into a idea or a craft or something like that. If it's moving through uh either way, like, any of it, like, it'll put on a different uniform, but it's still the sun. It still has the essence of it. It's still projecting out, but we're going to be a little bit feeling a certain way, and the nice thing is that this isn't telling you what to do, like, you just because it's in this sign doesn't mean you can't do this. It just means that if you start working these cycles for your benefit, you will move with the rhythm of time and the earth cycles. And I know that sounds very woo woo and like, but unfortunately, there's a truth to it because it's just that kind of thing where if you move into cycles, it actually ends up making your life a lot less fighty. And you're not sleeping when you should be running, and you're not running when you should be sleeping.
I don't give a
You
fuck what
know,
it sounds like. I think you should look it up and get a good reading because that shit changed my life.
absolutely, absolutely. Because like you can really start to and get multiple readings. Don't like it's not one and done.
No, and honestly, that just it also helps you to understand yourself better so that like if you are somebody who feels lost in life and you feel very lost, like even about yourself, you don't understand yourself, it can give you something to stand on and start working towards a better life and towards a better understanding of yourself so that you can try to help yourself. Like, I feel like that gave me ground to stand on when it comes to who I am as a person. And regardless of like if it's real or not, or one person reads it differently, it's all about what like really like hits home for you. And there was a lot that hit home to me that I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And like it gave me good footing to run off of instead of like sliding all the
Yeah.
time and not really knowing what I could grab onto and what I couldn't grab onto to keep moving forward.
Right. And don't be so obsessed about what they said or what you forgot or anything like that. Take what you remember, work on that, get another reading. Take on that, work on that, get another reading. Don't be so hyper focused on like, well, I missed that part. You're not ready for that part. Like work on little bits of it. You can't like the only way to change your entire being in one fell swoop is to like have a near death experience.
Yeah.
Unless you want that, like I wouldn't really go that route.
Right.
But that would be your fast forward. It's like in Constantine when he wakes her up again and he like basically drowns her in a pool of water, right? Like
Yep. He
that's
warned her
what we're
too.
talking right and he that's what it happens. So doing it little bits at a time and realizing that you have plenty of time to do it is the probably safest way to do it.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, sometimes you might get readings that are absolute shit, and that's not your fault or theirs. It's usually just they're not the right reader for you specifically, or you're not supposed to know a bunch right now. Sometimes, like you'll literally get readings, you'll even do it with tarot, where it's the same thing over and over again that you're hearing, and either you're not looking at it or you're not meant to know more, and you're supposed to like, do it on your own.
Well, you got off path. Like you went left when you should have went right. Like,
Yep.
I've done that with a reader where I was like, I don't like her and I don't know why. And, I was like, well, maybe I'm being superficial because she doesn't have the right look or whatever, right? So let me test out my theory. So I went to the reader just to confirm why I didn't like her.
Yeah.
And that's without knowing or, like I thought I was just being judgy when really it's my intuition going, that's not really for you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm. Also, don't get obsessed with ratings because we do that too.
Yeah, they're fun to get, but
But
I
if you get
agree.
too many, like once a week, like that's too much. There's not enough time that passed to fix what you needed to fix or to do what you needed to do. Like you have to like let it simmer and cook a little bit before you like stir up the pot again.
Yeah, I think my last astrology reading was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good, so helpful, just very validating and like things like that, where it was like super helpful. It made me feel very much like I was on the right path. And also had validated some of the feelings that I had had, but I haven't needed one since. I had tried to get one, and then timing wise, the readers in California, I'm in Michigan, and I forgot that we were on two different time zones, so it didn't work out, and then I didn't get to book again because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it was just not working, and I was like, oh well, see, I'm forcing it, and it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. Gotta, sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's all I got.
For the sun.
Yep.
Okay, so the mood. The moon is going to be represented in your like represent your emotions, your moods, your urges, and this is also where your intuitive side is represented. It's going to reveal like how you respond to certain situations and how you might be perceived by others as well. I always like to think of the moon as what our Mercury talks through, which we'll go into Mercury in the future, but it's your like communication sign. And I always like to think that's what your Mercury talks through is your moon. And that's like how you get perceived by others. Um, this is a like one of the second most significant, where again, it's usually your sun, your moon, your rising that people will ask you for. And the moon holds the key to our subconscious mind. So it is revealing our intuitive response. It holds our childhood memories and our emotional patterns as well. And so it also can symbolize our connection to family and the nurturing aspects of life, portraying the way that we both give and receive care as well. Let's see what else. So I feel like, are you using the Llewellyn correspondence books?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what she says the moon rules. Because I found that it rules Cancer, it's detriment in Capricorn, exalted in Taurus, and fall in Scorpio.
It's funny because all this says is Cancer. That it's the zodiac sign for.
I mean, it makes sense because usually Cancer is where you find a lot of this, like we're talking about nurturing, caring, usually like they're able to express their emotions deeply and more openly than others. Sorry, I'm like dying here.
Why you're dying?
Slaven phlegm,
A
phlegm,
phlegm.
phlegm.
A phlegm.
So, the sign in which the moon is placed tells us the how of the moon's expression, and the house in which it's placed indicates the where. Um, so in astrology, the moon, like other planets and luminaries, also have a negative side, right? Like there's always a positive and a negative, and that's like the dark side of the moon. We kind of talked about this when we were talking about moon phases, and it just refers to the shadowy aspects of our emotional landscape that we usually try to hide and keep it hidden or try to deny it and pretend like it's not a thing. But those negative traits can manifest when we're unaware of or unwilling to confront our emotional wounds and unresolved issues. And that all sits within the moon. Like those childhood traumas, things like that, that's all usually right in there in this aspect.
I also believe, and I can't remember exactly, but I know that the moon and the represented your mother too
Yeah.
in like a
Um,
natal chart.
I did read that as well, to where the sun represents your father,
Mm-hmm.
which is so funny that they're the two of the bigger signs too for us, and those are it's your mother and your father.
Yeah.
Um, Also it makes sense with the like it holding a lot of it's your emotional side. So this is like, where again, like your insecurities, your moodiness, if you tend to be overreactive, that can be in there too. It can really unveil how you respond to life's challenges and how you express like your nurturing towards others or your affections towards others and yourself specifically.
Yeah, because I think because there's a certain way that and if you go on TikTok, there's a lot of like ways to look at a chart. Actually, what was that one we were watching? Barbara, no,
Oh,
she changed her name. What is she?
Brett, Brett,
Braca,
Baraka,
Braca, Braca,
I think you say it right.
Braca.
Brasha Goldsmith,
Yeah,
Brasha
yeah.
Goldsmith, Brasha.
Watch her videos. She will teach you a lot of astrology. Like the
Yeah.
foundation of it. Like, this is a chart, this is how you read it. And she does really good like horoscopes, and she does it for each of the sun signs and like full moons and stuff like that.
She's awesome. She's very easy listening, is what I feel
Yeah.
like. She's like,
She's kind of fun and quirky too. Like, not a lot, just a little.
yeah, she is
Hmm.
what you would consider, I guess, the woo-woo, but I love it because it's so easy to listen to and she's so easy to understand.
Hmm. And
And
she's fun.
yeah, if she tells you something's coming up that's going to be hard, she doesn't make it doomsday of the apocalypse either. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, because sometimes astrologers can make it doomsday, like, you are going to do this. And it's like, oh, like
Hmm.
mountains out of molehills kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is my chart. I don't know. There we go. Can't really see it, but that's what a chart looks like with more lines,
With lots more lines.
lots more lines, usually. Um, and the chart that I really like to use is the pattern, and I know Cassie really likes the co-star.
Yeah, I don't love what co-star necessarily says. I but I do like the chart part because I think it's easy to understand. But I will say if you use co-star, they fucking troll your ass sometimes. Do not like you don't have to listen to the shit that they try to pop up as a notification on your phone. Like literally today, just because I looked at it to see like quickly what my signs were, what houses they were in, because it just is like a little chart layout, and so it's super quick and easy to read. But you don't need to live by CoStar. I have had people that I know get CoStar and they think they need to live by it. I will tell you they troll your ass. They do it because it gets you to open up the app. Okay? Like
Yeah, yeah, they want you to interact, and like they're manipulating you.
there it is. Yeah. You don't need to like look at the updates. Like literally it's telling me today I need to refrain from urges. I don't know what that means.
Well, if my urge is to clean, does that mean I'm supposed to refrain from that or shower?
And then it tells me today, end your morning shower with a blast of cold water. Move through the day as wide awake as possible.
Okay.
The thing I'll say about CoStar is it's quick and easy to read if you're not used to reading a circle chart. That's what I'll say about it. To where I do also I think the pattern is so nice because it gives you much more detail, I want to say. I
Mm-hmm.
like the readings from it better. If you want something that'll tell you like a daily thing, a monthly thing, I would definitely say go with the pattern.
Well, and the pattern I found is really helpful when you're like having a hard time and you're like, oh, I'm going through a cycle. Like a lot of times and it's not gospel, but like right now I am, let's see, it has my timing, and like I have a cycle that I'm moving through because it's Pluto versus my IC, which I forget what that is, but that's security transformation. And I have 5 months left to that. And then I have a relationship pattern transformed, and I have 19 months of that left. And aspects, expect the unexpected. There's another, and it tells you each one of these things are for like attraction and personal growth is another one that I'm working on for the next 6 months. Activating power, which is another 8 months. But it has these little helpful like timeline things in here. And then you click on them and it tells you a little bit about it, of what you should be feeling, what you should be seeing. And it's not, it's just a little bit of a lifeline. It's not necessarily like end all be all kind of thing. Because in this world, you have free will. So realize that, like, once you see it, you can change it or do something else, or, realize that, well, they say that, but like, also, I don't feel necessarily like that's 100% true. Or else I went through something in my life, although co-star or not co-star, but the pattern sometimes scares the fuck out of me. I just got to say, like,
I will also say that too. Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude.
You're like, God damn it, pattern. I
I'm
think
like,
m-
shit.
my friend Jamaica and I would always say, fuck the pattern. Fuck the pattern. Fuck that pattern. But it's helpful. And you can also put like your significant other or your friends in there as well. And it's nice. What's nice about that is that, like, if you think, like, say you're giving your partner a little bit of space, you can kind of see what they're kind of going through right now, what kind of like influences are kind of in their life. Like, so it kind of helps, like, oh, he's cycling through this or she's cycling through that. So, like, I understand where they're kind of coming from on a place where you're not being so evasive or taking it personally, too.
Agreed. Yeah, I really love the pattern. Sometimes it's just fun to look at your friends or your partner and just be like, how are we doing? How would we be doing
Uh-huh.
today?
Mm-hmm. Well, especially with my Scorpio moon husband, like, you're like, there's feelings in here.
Aries moon.
Mm-hmm.
Spicy.
Spicy.
Spicy. I'm like, why is it so
Spicy.
hot?
So I don't know. I don't like spicy.
I don't like spicy. It's hotter than pepper. I can't do it.
It's hot. It's hot.
So, I just have a few from this person that was like just giving you some examples of reading in your chart. And I thought it was kind of fun because, like, again, every person's going to be different. Every reader is going to be different, but some of these I liked. Like this one, if the moon in your chart is in a water sign, your emotions overflow. Is they said you're transparent, you may cry easily, but you can also openly express deep feelings and may be empathetic. So like I love that. I like this portion of it because I was like, yeah, I could see that. Like all my friends that have water signs, either in like their Mercury or especially their moon, they're way more open, like when it comes to feelings, and it's not harder for them to like get them out,
Right.
and they're more like direct with them. The moon in a fire sign makes you more spontaneous and your mood shifts impulsively, yet you hide deep feelings behind a defensive exterior. You may be stoic in the if your moon is in the earth sign, meaning you can endure pain or hardship without showing feelings or complaining, which God, if that's not super true, I don't know what is. And then you if your moon is in an air sign, you could suppress your deep emotions, and but you can easily share ideas and opinions, but need help to discuss your feelings.
Hmm.
I was like, ooh, yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much true.
That feels very
I'll
um
say my Mercury and my moon are both in earth signs.
you power through, buddy.
I know it.
Till
Uh,
like it's like when they say stoic, they're meaning like they can endure pain or hardship for a long time without complaining. But I will say when it comes to an earth sign and a moon, it once you've pushed hard enough and you've broken that, dude, that's it's hard. So like when we talk about how also you can use these signs to like help yourself too when you know this stuff about yourself. Um my moon's in Aquarius, which is a water sign. Um and sometimes I am way too transparent with my feelings where it becomes very direct and like very you did this to me and I'm sad about it and blah blah blah. And I've had to work really hard at not being a you versus me person and not using like
mhm.
you statements because I very much very quickly want to openly talk about things, especially with my partner who is an Aries sign and is not like I'm over here stoking the flame. I'm like, let's go, baby. When I'm like,
I know.
you.
You're like, I'm gonna burn this down.
I'm gonna burn it down and I'm gonna use your flame to do it. So I've learned that about myself and I've had to like work really hard at it, being like more about myself, like this is how I'm feeling, this is why I'm feeling this way, and learning how like obviously books like and oh, what's the book? Nonviolent communication helped me a ton when it comes to like my emotions and talking to others about them and that kind of thing. So that's been really helpful to know that about like use that as fuel to the fire to like heal myself.
Right.
Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Um, let's see. The only other one I really have that I thought was cool was when it comes to your family, connection with your family. This is also from this person that if your natal moon is in the sign, uh, a sign like Aquarius or Sagittarius, you may love your family, but you don't need to be physically or emotionally close. You may wander far from home and live in unusual places disconnected from your family to where, like, if your natal moon is in Cancer, Capricorn, or Pisces, you may be more old-fashioned where it's like you are close to your family and like you do live close, you're very involved with your family.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to like get these kind of like readings, but that's what I have for the moon.
And then, like this gives you a little bit of a platform to jump off of. So then what I would do after this is that you can start really studying your own chart and familiarizing yourself with like the different things and like how to navigate around it. Cause I remember when I first would look at it and be like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like you're looking at it and you're like, this is like a whole nother language. Like I don't
Yeah.
have no idea what this is. And then like the more I study, and if you're so inclined, take a class. There are many astrology classes out there, and it helps you really like you got somebody to talk to, you got somebody to like um ask questions about. Um, you're supporting a person that has dedicated their life to this. So
Mm.
it's not a bad idea to take a class with this.
Mm-mm. That's like it's nice because then like you get all the information like to look at forever. You just have
Yeah.
packets of stuff.
Yeah, that's true too. Packets of stuff like, oh,
Yeah. Good questions. You can whip that packet out.
but it helps. It really helps, like, kind of like just navigating for your own, like, if you really are interested in it, it helps you really navigate through that because there is so many levels to like, you got to learn the zodiac signs and then you got to learn. And there's two different astrologers out there too. There's ones that are more psychological and there's one that are more like, analytical, I think, where they're more like they're gonna read your chart and be like, oh, like almost future telling because they're reading the numbers on the map.
Hmm.
And neither one is wrong. I'm just telling you, like, that's basically what you're gonna kind of find out there.
Yeah, and it's all going to be preference, you know. You could find one like where I found one that was more like the reading the numbers on a map, and I like the one that was more psychic focused
Yeah.
personally, where other people are different. You know, they like the numbers on the map kind of.
Well, they want to know, like, if I was doing a business and I was trying to predict like what was going to happen in the next like 6 months to a year, because I'm going to invest some money somewhere, that's what I would look at the analytical one. I would use that one for a specific, like, if I'm making moves in my life, I would use that for that. That's what kings and queens did back in the day. They had astrologers to know stuff, know that something was coming, know that something was going to happen, blah blah blah. And really good astrologers could predict even like what it is and what it's going to look like and all that kind of stuff. Really good ones. Um where like the psychological ones is more about self-healing and self like understanding and moving through like my emotional life and my head life than my outside life.
Yeah, that's a great way to explain that. Who's your Greek moon correspondent? Because I liked how we talked about with the sun wearing different outfits essentially. Because I like now I can't stop thinking about that with the moon, like Apollo and like a Cancer outfit.
Oh, who would the moon be?
Yeah.
Reptiles, Aries. I think I'm close. Libra. Okay, I'm closer. Moon. So like the trees, gemstone. Do you want all of that? Do you want the gods or goddesses?
Um,
Mermaids and fairies are the magical correspondents
oh,
to the moon.
why does that make so much sense?
I am gonna die.
I want Greek. Who can I think of when I think of the moon? Because I really enjoyed the way you described like Apollo wearing different like signs
Uh,
as clothing.
Aphrodite,
Oh, that's a
um,
good one.
Artemis, Diana, Freya, Hecate, Ishtar, Isis, Juno, Luna. Those are Persephone, Selene, and Spider Woman.
Oh, I remember us doing something with this. We looked up Spider Woman because of it.
We did. I remember
Uh-huh.
that now. Yep. So she's part of the moon. And there's a couple more that I'm not familiar with and don't really know how to say and don't necessarily want to like kill them.
Yeah, I get it.
But I really like Diana is a really good one for me. I think Diana and Artemis might be the same, just that like one's a Roman one, one's a Greek one. Hecate, of course, she represents the waning and waxing of the moon, the full, the dark, all that stuff. Selena, I feel like is the one that is like that's her own, I think that's like her only job. Like she's the
Hmm.
one like that where like Hecate has other jobs, Diana has other jobs, like
Right.
um even like Persephone has multiple jobs. But like you use one that you like the best, right? That embodies, and you can get statues of these and help you connect with the moon and that correspondence easier. They have nice ones out there that
Yeah, they
help
do.
you
I have really
connect
pretty
with all that.
ones. Wheel. Is that all she wrote?
The sun and the moon, the father and the mother.
Hmm. I will say really quick before we end this, I've just never thought about them being the mother and the father and how like that ties so much into astrology and how like that can tie so much into healing too using your astrology. Oh, wow.
hmm
That one got me today. I was like, wow, didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like even I really enjoy obviously like I really enjoy the fact that you can start to see it in the Bible and it starts to take the power away from the church and it really like puts the power back into like the word and just a little helpful guide to like navigate again, why are we here? What is the purpose? What am I supposed to do with this, right? Like that's the big because I'm pretty sure it's not just paying taxes and then dying. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I do.
God, I hope not.
I do. I feel that.
That seems very shallow.
Oh, that seems like what's the fucking point?
Right.
Right? Well,
But
our
yeah,
oh
what,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say our next one we're doing is on Venus and Mars,
Ooh,
which is very exciting because like some of these I know the basis meaning, like the kiddie pool meaning of them.
right, right.
Maybe not even that. Maybe I'm on the sidelines of the kiddie pool looking in, but still scared.
Well, I mean, you probably know a little bit more about Venus than you do about Mercury or Mars.
Yeah, I would definitely say a little bit more, but I'm excited to keep learning like on this part of the journey with everybody too, because I love the learning of astrology. I think it's a lot of fun and it's like
Hmm
nice to get more in touch with these celestial beings around us in any way.
Agreed. Because what's above is below, and what below is above.
Heck yeah, me. Well, do you got anything else for the peoples?
That's it.
The heathenistic peoples? Okay.
No, they're heathens. Ha!
All right, peeps, we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.